Welcome, join us as we explore the mystical insights of the Blood Moon Oracle, revealing profound guidance for your journey ahead. Thank you for watching.
Good evening. Welcome to tonight's reading around the 1111 portal. Today is November 11th, and it's a special day. Energetically, I tend to think so. Interestingly, when I tapped in this morning and logged on, it was 1111. The alignment has just been very beautiful today. And so the 1111 is definitely a very interesting number. First of all, when we tap into numerology, it's an interesting number that may, in fact, cause us to be open more than usual and ready to see changes come about. 1111 can signify very powerful manifestations when it comes to looking at things that are opening up portals, the veil thinning so that we can kind of get that mystical experience and feel. And so there's a lot of things that we can look at when it comes to the 1111. It's interpreted probably differently by everyone, but it's definitely a master number. First of all, when we look at numerology, we take the 11 and realize it means a higher order of things. It holds a higher potential than just a single digit number. When we look at master numbers, right? We take the 1 and we double it, making it 11. We take the 2 and it's almost like the 2 is doubled, becoming 22, or 3 to 33, right? And we can look at it in so many different ways, right? It's doubling in, the strength of the number, the potential, the power of the meaning behind the number, or the potency of the number even. And then we could also take that 11 and reduce it, and it reduces down to a 2, right? 11 doesn't lose its primary identity, but it embodies all of this, all of the different aspects of, intuition, insight, spiritual enlightenment. And this is all in cahoots in a very foundational way as it leads to the number 2, which is all about many times decisions, partnerships, contracts, things like that. But the 11 is opening up to those, right? We look back at the number 1, which is this very primal force, this very singular new beginning, self-actualizing energy. And then we add to it another 1, which becomes the 2, which opens up to the potential of not just a single existence, but then we added. That's why the 2 represents like contracts, partnerships. It could even be soul contracts, soul, energy, soul mate energy. And so the 1 opens up and makes room, not only identifying it itself, but it's acknowledging something outside of itself as it opens up and becomes the 2. And all of that comes from the 11. Now, the 11 in itself is a master number. Now, today is 1111, which also compounds it again, right? Many would say that either the 1111, we could even see that as like this very foundational number, like the antenna, spiritual antenna. I heard somebody say that they look at that as like a sign that there's some psychic energy happening there, or there's some type of message coming through, or it's really supportive and receptive to the divine aspects of our being, downloads coming in and being translated into visualizations, to ideas, right? And 11 for me, really, it taps me into that 4 of wands. The wands really represent wands for me. So it's a very energetic energy that I'm feeling with the 1111. It's like things are moving, you're going in the right way, things are unfolding exactly the way they are, and so it's a movement, it's an energy of movement for me. But it's also, we can consider it a number of alignment with our soul's purpose. Spirit many times will send me that message of the 1111 or 111. I can't tell you how many times I see that through the day or through the week or through the month. It's to the point where I'm just like, okay, and it's a signifier that I'm on the right track, that I have aligned with my soul's purpose, and to trust what I am experiencing, what I'm seeing, hearing, feeling. It's almost like a guiding toward my higher path. And when we look at it from an astrological point of view, the 11, when we look at the houses, um, astrologically, 11 represents Aquarius. Okay. Second to the last house in the astrology. And Aquarius is the ruler of the 11th house. And this is talking about things like community and how that exists, ideas around community. And Aquarius is actually ruled radically by Uranus. And so we're tapping into this very visionary like energy. Aquarius can also be considered as, and I'm thinking of the Aries, it reminds me of Sagittarius. There's an element of humanity that lies within the Aquarius, always wanting to make things better for people. These are people that are good at leadership and, governing. Like they can handle groups of people. They're good within their connections, like friendships, right? We talk about the 11 turning into the 2, right? Making room for something outside of itself, pushing things forward in a positive way towards the future. Aquarius is really an energy that's about breaking old patterns and structures and creating way for something new, for something greater, for a more enlightened existence. And so the number 11 also aligns astrologically with Aquarius. And so collectively, we're talking about networking and, working together to build a more conducive future for what it is that we visualize. It looks at what's possible, tapping into the Aquarian energy. And so astrologically, this number taps in as well. And when we look at the portals, which we're going to look at here, I do feel like each of us could be getting, specific messages coming through for this 1111 portal. I tend to think that it's beautiful. When I think of the 1111, again, as I told you, I'm thinking of the wands, the 4 of wands, which shows kind of like 4 pillars, 4 foundational pillars that hold up a structure. When you think of like architecture, everything needs pillars because the pillars actually serve as the foundation of any structure. And so when I think of the 1111, it's almost like this very foundational, basic necessity for anything that we're moving forward to, anything that we're building. This is like the very basic foundations of that building. So this could also point to new beginnings, tapping into new things, or entering into, as we're going to look at tonight, portals, right? Entering into a new segment of our journey. And then when we look into the tarot, which we'll be pulling out here tonight too, the 11th card in the tarot, when we look at the major arcana, there's no 11s in the minor arcana, it's just in the major. It goes from 0 to 22. And, or is it 21? I think it's 20. Yeah, it goes from 0 to 21. The world is the 21. But the 11th card is the justice, which is, it's the 10 and then the 1. It's an 11 written in Roman numerals. That's what I was trying to think of, Roman numerals. But it's the 11. It's talking about the justice. Now, when we look at the justice, the energy of the justice is powerful and it's amplified, that energy of the justice. And again, this is a major arcana, which means these are major themes that we're learning on our life's path. This is a major theme when we look at the justice. And because it's 1111, this theme is then amplified. And so when people think of the justice card, there's a lady, we would probably consider her the Lady Liberty, right? She's standing and she's holding the scales in one hand and a sword in another. It seems a little bit intimidating. It's not about punishment. And so we shouldn't think of it that way, but it's about karma. And karma does not mean punishment. Many times we get that misconstrued. Karma is just a very unbiased principle of the universe that says there is a cause, and because there is a cause, there will be an effect, right? It also says where there is truth, there will also be balance. And that's what karma is about. It's about balance. It's about balancing things out. And so when we look at the justice, that's what we're talking about. And the justice represents this sense of universal law in everything that we do and how it balances. It has to, according to universal law, it has to balance out. And so that's what karma is. And we link this to the energy of the number 11, but we amplify it. So this could also be a time where we're experiencing a major, because it's amplified, it's doubled, a major unfolding of, this thing that we call the balancing happening, karma, in its most purest form, right? And so, 11 is all about the act of manifesting, whether intentionally or unintentionally. That's what we're talking about. And so basically, when we look at the justice, we're looking at, with the sword, we're looking at major thoughts of major themes of our thoughts that cause things to come into effect, that cause and set effects into motion. The justice also is a card that cautions us to make sure that our intentions are pure and aligned with our truth, because it will surely reap what has been sown, right? Justice also holds, again, that sword in one hand, the scales in the other hand. And the sword is like a blade that cuts through illusions, right? She has the blindfold on, but the sword is what holds truth. It cuts through illusions. And it's basically urging us to be really honest with ourselves and live in the greatest form of our truth. The scales, on the other hand, is calling us to make sure that we're balanced in our lives, in every area of our lives, spiritually, materially, energetically, emotionally, when it comes to how we are living and existing in the world, even when it comes to giving and receiving, right? The scales is asking us to stay balanced. And I feel like it also is a big signifier of the heart energy as well, because out of our heart flows a lot of our circumstances in life. And I feel like that scale for me has played a major theme in making sure that I keep my heart balanced. I do very often this thing called a heart check. It's like many times I will, especially when I'm experiencing difficulties or hardships, the first place I go is inward to check myself, to make sure that I'm aligned in my truth and that my heart is balanced. For me, that's a huge, major theme. And so this appearance of the 11 in correlation with the justice is really taking full responsibility of our life, right? It really is kind of like a confirmation that, or an affirmation of that we have the power to create the life and the balance and the fairness and, this sense of integrity within ourselves. We have the ability to do that. That's what justice affirms. And so we're going to jump into the energy reading for the 1111 portal. And I hope you guys are well this evening. My name is Leticia, and you have come to the channel here, Blood Moon Oracle, tonight to these energies and see what comes out. Tonight, I am going to be using my Oracle of Portals deck. I pulled this off of the shelf. We'll be using this tonight. And we're going to also use my Crow Tarot deck and the Kipper deck, right? And so, if this is your first time passing through and you feel kind of, this alignment with the energy on this page, feel free to subscribe. If you do hit the bell, you'll be notified whenever we go live with things like this, or just daily encouragement that I like to post as well. And so let's get started. I did pull out the major themes. And so the first card that came out was the Realm of the Fae. Okay. The Realm of the Fae. We're going to dive into each one of these. This is the first card. So if this aligns with you, this may be for you, this message. That's the first card, the Realm of the Fae. The second card is Presence. Presence was number 2. This one may align as well. If it does, this may be your reading. And more than one could align, right? It's all good. I ask that you do tap into your intuition, use discernment to see what's for you and what's not. Um, and if it doesn't resonate, don't feel like you have to try to make it fit. Okay. Number 3 is a amplified number. It's a master number 33. And so we'll take a look at the dynamics of this around transformation. Okay. This is the 3rd card. All right. And so we'll go ahead and start off with the first card and describe kind of like the portal that could be opening. This could be what you've already experienced. This could be describe your experience up to this point. We're just going to delve in and see what comes out. And the first was the realm of the Fae. I feel like this could be for someone who is very connected with nature and nature spirits, and or you could be being called to connect with nature or nature spirits. The realm of the Fae is all about adhering to the calling to listen to nature, to listen to the world outside of the human body. There's so much to connect with and to hear and to open up to. And, you know, when we talk about the Fae, this might describe a kind of like a conscious aliveness to nature. I was thinking about this earlier today before I even sat down to do this, on how there was a point in my life, it was maybe about a few years ago, where I felt this very deep, tremendous connection to trees all of a sudden. Like, I've never really been fascinated with trees. And then all of a sudden I felt this kind of like undeniable connection to trees, almost like I could speak to the trees and I could feel the trees and I was connected to the trees. It was just really amazing. And so the Fae could talk about having experiences like that, being connected consciously, not only to people, but to nature. There is conscious connection to nature, and looking at nature that way, as being alive and conscious and a living, breathing thing, right? Just like we are. And so for whoever you are, you could be someone who has like this energetic signature that places you in a very interesting relationship with nature and with nature spirits, with the natural world. You may even have memories past what you feel like you've lived in this lifetime that connects you back to nature in a very harmonious way. There may be something just really familiar, scarily familiar about you being able to connect with these nature elements. And you may even be someone who delves into nature from a standpoint of, you know, being into herbs and being into the crystals and being somebody that swims in natural bodies of water to connect. And you could be someone who soaks in the water, you know, riverbeds or lakes under the moon. I'm just feeling someone who like runs through the grass, someone really connected, like on a deep, deep conscious level, connected sensually to nature. And if you're not, you may be being called through this portal of the 1111. Maybe this is something that has been going through your mind, or maybe you've had just this slight nudge to do things out in nature, to connect in a way that maybe you're not familiar with. This is your sign that, yeah, that's what is being translated through this 1111 portal. You're being called to show up in a way that allows you to be open to healing, to be open to insight, and to be open to the abundance that you can enter into, even mastery when it comes to learning nature, right? And I feel like you can do like some people will retreat out into nature. You could be someone that can easily go out into nature for days and be right at home. Like you could easily lose yourself out in nature and like not even wish to come back, but you know you have to because there's probably things that you need to deal with. But I feel like you could be someone who retreats into nature like for a weekend and it's nothing, or you could just go out like for an evening, or you may be someone, you know, like me that could just sit out for an hour or two and just lose yourself. This might be a call to plan something like that. Plan a camping trip or an overnight stay in the woods. Leave your phone behind and go and get lost in nature. There's something about needing to spend time or having spent time just really contemplating in nature and allowing yourself to become one with everything outside of yourself. Yeah. And there's this sense of playfulness I'm feeling too, even as we think of fairies. Fairies are they're childlike, very innocent, playful energies. You could be someone who is really connected with things like fairies and gnomes and littles, you know, these very playful elements of the nature realm. You could be someone who connects to that realm in a very deep way. There's a sense of joy that I feel is waiting for you. There's might be a need to do this to recharge your intuition. I feel like I probably need one of these. You know, I need to just go out and cop a squat under a tree somewhere just for like a couple of hours and just allow myself to soak into the earth. There's some level of creativity or your intuition. Even for some, this is your element of energizing your power. And you'll know what that means when I say it, if this is you. But you need to go and reconnect. This 1111 portal is asking you to find time to do that. This is almost acting like kind of like a sacred communion with nature. And when that happens, you'll find the support surrounds you. And there's this sense of seeing things from a very magical way. Like when I used to look at the trees, when I first started feeling really connected, like I would literally see the trees like dancing, like they would be swaying. And what's so funny is it wouldn't even be a windy day. It would be like in the middle of summer and the tree would be just like swaying like it was windy. The other trees would be completely fine. And I would look at one and it would be just swaying, just dancing, or one portion of the tree. And I'm like, well, what is that? Like, you know, it used to trip me out. I feel like if you allow yourself to hearken to this invitation to go out and become one with nature, like you're going to see things like that. Different magical elements that surround you and support you, this very sparkly feeling. And I'm hearing like a shimmery, you know, sometimes the water has that perfect glow from the sun and it's like very magical. It almost feels like there's like fairy dust, a trail of fairy dust along the shadow of the sun on the water. I feel like when you do that, there's going to be certain things that happen to let you know that you're in the right place at the right time. And you could be someone that does this and something always happens. Like there's a patch of butterflies that meets you there, or June bugs come and the beetles, you know, those gray and gold beetles, they always find you when you go out. Like there's something magical that's waiting for you to step out. And so you could also be being called to take offerings out to nature, take gifts. Fairies love gifts. They like gifts of words. So you could go out and speak love and life to nature. You can take a flower or a crystal, or you could take money, you know, out. But there's something about being called during this 1111 to reverence the earth. That could be you. Okay. I'm going to pull out some tarot here now to take a look and see what we need to know. All right. About this 1111 portal, what is it that my viewer needs to know? What do you want my viewer to know? Page of Wands. I feel like this is Hierophant. This is a very spiritual yet magical time that's open to creation, that has, it's almost like the elements want you to know that you have. One other thing about the 1111 portal, if I haven't said it, it's like a major energy of manifestation. I feel like all of November has just things, alignments, and certain things that are happening that provide opportunity to manifest the situations, to manifest, requests, prayers, desires, needs. It's very conducive environment, the 11:11. And I feel like when you, or if you find time to go out into nature, this is going to show you in many ways the magic of this moment. Yeah. So we have the Page of Wands for the tarot, the Hierophant, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Fool. I do feel like there's something definitely opening up here feels very, it feels very spiritual, yet it feels magical at the same time. And it's almost like this is the message coming to you right now. This is the message coming to you right now about that element that's opening to you during this time. And it's not just today. I feel like this is a portal that's open for a specific amount of time. And it would be up to you to take advantage of the energy of this particular state that we're in. Now, when we look at the Hierophant, because the page is all about creation from a very new start. It's almost like having a blank screen, being able to create and put anything on that screen that you want. This is the message that you should know, okay? This is a message that you should know. This is what you should know. With the Hierophant, this is all about learning and learning about what has been. And being that this is Aquarian energy that we're operating in with the 11, part of that too is understanding the potential of what could be, right? It feels very spiritual, but it also feels like an element of learning. It could be a mixture of both, taking tradition and taking things that are very non-traditional and seeing what could be, what could come about, what is needed in this time for you. With the world, this is dealing with that energy of the unfolding, right? What comes after the world is the justice. We just talked about the justice, but before the justice, we have this cycle of life. We have the experience, the ups and the downs. And this is Jupiterian energy. So it's a sense of good luck. It's a sense of having things unfolding in your favor at this time. They are wanting you to know that this is a very amazing time to be in for you. Okay. And then with the Fool, this is an opportunity to do something new that you've never done, to walk a clean path, right? The Fool is free-spirited, it's full of faith and adventure, and looks at things from a very innocent standpoint, almost like you've never been there, and this is something new. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to fear because you don't have anything to base it on. This is a new beginning that the 11:11 opens up. Now, it does talk about you getting out into nature. That may be very significant for someone to step into this energy, to step through this portal. I do want to get some more information. So I'm going to pull out my Kipper deck as well. As we have the Page of Wands, which is fire energy, Sagittarius, Leo, Aries. The Hierophant is Taurus energy. The Wheel of Fortune is Sagittarius energy. And then the Fool, I believe, is actually that Uranus energy that carries with Aquarius, that's trying to find something new, a different way that's going to be beneficial for everybody. And so let's get some more energy here. I'm going to pull some of my Kipper because it seems like there might be some hidden information here. Let's see what else we need to know. What else do we need to know here with the realm of the Fae? 1111 portal opening up here. What else do we need to know here? What is hidden or unseen? So I have the family room, message, main female, and lovers coming out. So for someone, this could be about allowing yourself to have new experiences, to enter into new connections. It feels like there could be some incoming information towards you that will help you to be more enlightened about this energy, this very magical energy. This could be you and someone else that is on this path of enlightenment through nature. It feels like for some of you, this could be the intentions of someone towards you that hasn't yet entered into your space, right? There's something that is being unveiled that you don't see at the moment that's going to be very significant. You're going to be very significant here, and it has to do with this energy that we're talking about. Someone may be about to be invited out to some kind of nature experience that's going to be very enlightening and actually pretty magical. Yeah. Are you planning a camping trip? Maybe someone's planning a camping trip for you or some type of nature experience. I feel like you might receive a message here coming up that's going to be like an invitation or an open invitation. It feels like someone is putting a lot of time and thought into this. There may be someone that is considering this on your behalf. They feel like it might be good for you to get out into nature. Feels like this could be a love interest, someone that you know. Doesn't have to be someone that you know. But there is possibly some discussion about this, some arranging of this. So you might be receiving an invitation or a message soon here. Yeah. Interesting. So whatever this is, you're going to find yourself, if you're open to the invitation, possibly in some type of retreat or some type of nature experience that's going to change your life. It's going to change your life. You're definitely going to be able to compare the before and the after. Well, before I went on this hike or this retreat, right? This is what it was. And then after, that's what it is now. There's going to be like a huge shift, a huge change that takes place for you. Yeah, and it has something to do with nature, being out in nature. So if you get invitations, know that this is an invitation to step through to a place where you may not want to look back, or you may not look back. You may not be able to look back after this happens. There's something very magical. I say go for it. Go for it. What else is hidden? What else is hidden here that's not seen? Because another part of the 1111 is there is this sense of the veil that is thinning. So what was hidden may no longer be hidden during this time. What is being revealed? I have the great fortune, pathway, toil and labor, and mature men. There's definitely something changing with your situation, your circumstances, your current setup. There's something, there's a major change under the way. And doesn't mean that it's going to happen overnight, I think this is like the portal that leads you into this change. That's leading you into this sense of abundance for yourself, great fortune. And I do believe that this is going to be something that is going to happen over an extended amount of time. This is something that you are going to invest in. You're going to invest in yourself. You're going to invest in this with toil and labor. I see, which is the 11, right? This might be you finally getting to see some benefit of some work that you've already done. You'll see the fruit of your labor here. And then there's something about, I don't know, this might be an older masculine energy, mature man. What is the mature man? What is the mature man? This is what's hidden. There's some mature man in your energy. What is this mature man? High honor and concern. It's almost like there might be someone who is kind of, I almost feel like there's someone that's watching out for you or making sure that things happen in a certain way as it pertains to you. And it's a 33. It almost feels like there's someone that you have on your side that is ensuring that you get what, what is owed to you or what you deserve. In this case, it feels like some kind of breakthrough, I feel like. So it's not something to do with nature, okay? New beginnings, new ways of being, breakthroughs, creating from a very blank space, being able to create what it is that you see, what you visualize, and having the powers that be on your side. That's what I feel. But it has something to do with nature, okay? It has something to do with nature. That's a big one. So that's what I'm seeing for you. Thank you so much to my group number ones with the realm of the Fae. That's for you during this 11/11 portal. We're going to go to the next card. Let's see here. Feels really watery as I take a look at this picture too. Whatever this is going to be very emotionally satisfying. This magic that's going to unfold before you. You're going to be in awe as things unfold. Whatever this plan is that Spirit has for you, you won't see things the same after this. Neither will you be seen in the same way after this. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, you may even be considered a magical being after this. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I have for that group number one. Thank you for stopping by. Let's go to group number two. For my group number twos, we have presence, which is a number 2. We talked about that a little bit with the 11/11. The realization that you are not alone. The one in all of its uniqueness and oneness then opens up to invite someone else into its environment and reality. Then comes the 2. It's the one opening up to something outside of itself that makes the 2 possible. The 11 turns into the 2 when we combine it. But presence comes out here. I feel like if you are someone who is very much attuned, you see how she's passing through the portal, the gateway between these 2 Ephesus, these tall structures or buildings. And as we look at the difference between the elements outside of this portal, and when you walk through this portal, there's a peace that waits on the other side of acknowledging this presence. I feel like for whoever you are, if you chose presence, if this one resonated with you, this is all about you taking note of the elements around you. To be present means to be aware of not only yourself, but your connection to everything around you, almost in the sense of becoming one and attuning with your senses and coming into the present moment, releasing everything that we're thinking and from the past, releasing our worries about the future, and then focusing on what's happening, where we are, our surroundings, our inner being. This right here is someone who is caught up in a moment. You might be someone who is practicing presence right now. That could be something that you are growing or wanting to grow stronger in, presence, and becoming one with everything that is around you, becoming one with it, right? To know yourself, but also to know your connection with everything around you, understanding what it means to be present, and understanding presence is to be and to be aware of being. Okay. There's something here about releasing everything, not getting caught in the past, in the future, what we should have done, what we shouldn't have done, what we hope will happen and what we want to forget, not being caught up in all of those minors, but now is what's most important. So this 1111 is all about, for someone, presence, and you may be there. You may be looking for this kind of peace in your life right now. You may be practicing this kind of stillness right now. This is how you know that this is your particular message. The 1111 for you is all about getting to the now, this moment where everything is all that it is, in all its beauty, in all its wisdom, in all its power that's present. It's getting to the now. And this might even be, what's needed for someone. If you're not practicing this yet, this might be what's needed, to just relinquish everything that's not still and that's not rooted and grounded in the now. Just relinquish it. Because on the other side of that is where you want to be. Things are clearer, brighter. They're not hazy and barely, focused. It's clear, it's vivid, it's bright. It feels crisp and refreshing. Like when you step outside on a day after it rained, it's not cold, it's not hot, and the air smells fresh, it's crisp, the skies are blue, there's no clouds. It's like, okay, now that all of that has been washed away by the storm, right? Everything feels like, okay, I can focus now. So someone may be needing to get to this place. The 1111, as we look at these towers on each side, this is the 1111. This is bringing an opportunity for you to pass through these pillars that could represent everything that keep things hazy and unclear and heavy and worrisome and anxious. That's what those pillars represent. So this 1111 brings an opportunity to stop a minute and to allow yourself to decide intentionally that you are going to pass through these portals of presence, which will, okay, open up to you answers that you seek, because everything is going to become clear on this other side once you allow yourself to pass through. Okay. I feel like for someone, there could be arguments happening within yourself, arguments in your head with voices that you feel like are yours, but they're not. And it's okay to know that that's not you, right? You could be arguing with this voice that's constantly criticizing you or causing you to worry or causing you to feel like you should regret a decision that you make. This voice is not you. It pretends to be, but it's not. This voice in your head is just an imposter, right? It pretends to know everything, but it doesn't. It pretends like it's in control, but it's not. It pretends to be right, but it's not always right. And you know this because the voice in your head often contradicts itself. One day it's this way and it's saying this, and then the next day it's totally on the opposite end of the spectrum. There's no stability with this imposter voice that you've been arguing with and fussing with. And there's almost this inner sense of like knowing that this voice is wrong. And the reason why it's important for you to understand that that is not you, it's just a voice, it's not you, is because if you believe that that voice is you, you may be tempted to turn against yourself. But that's where you need to understand that just because you hear a voice does not mean that that's your voice. Okay? It's not yours, right? So part of this 1111 for you is learning how to get still, because in that stillness is going to come clarity, crystal clarity. Through that clarity, you're going to be able to decipher things more clearly, of which one is what is you when it comes to listening to voices and what's not. Okay, that's one of the things that this 1111 portal is opening up, is you coming into a present moment, like for this clarity. And it's not so much about silencing the voice. That's not what this is about. It's about recognizing what is and is not your voice. That's what this is about. And when that becomes clear, then that voice can no longer gatekeep your reality. Okay. And so part of this is about coming into our true identity through this silence, allowing things to become silent underneath that voice and noticing the voice and being able to distinguish between the identities. That only happens in silence. When we open our consciousness and become one with ourselves and become present within ourselves, there's some realizations that are going to happen with this 1111 portal. Yeah. I think there's also other things that will happen during this time as well. If you are open to walk into this portal, when we have these moments of silence, we get the opportunity to not only feel what's happening within, but to become aware of the energy around us. Like I was saying with the tree, how you become conscious and aware of the energy of the tree and how it feels, if you know what I mean, how it feels, like what type of feeling do you get from connecting with the energy of the tree? Or what kind of feeling do you get when you're still and present from connecting with the energy of the sky or the ground? What type of feeling do you get when you allow yourself to be still enough to feel the air going in and out of your body, or the heartbeat that you feel in your feet when you get still enough? You know, if we get still enough, you can feel the heartbeat through any part of your body that you desire. You just have to be still enough to become one with that body piece, right? You can feel it in your eye. If you become one and become present with your eye, you can feel the throb of your heartbeat in the eye. So there's something about stepping into this portal for you, a presence. And this is going to awaken something within you. And you're going to be able to see things more clearly and distinguish between what's you and what's not. and you're going to be able to connect with what's around you and become conscious of your oneness with it. Okay. The only thing that causes us to be separated from everything is the lack of presence. So this 1111 portal for someone is intensifying your awareness and your consciousness, and it's going to amplify your state of mind as it relates to yourself in connection with everything. And it's not for you to beat yourself up when you realize your state of mind, but it's for you to realize it and tune it to what it needs to be. Okay. It's not for you to beat yourself up, but it's for you to actually give you an opportunity to shift things, okay, to the right perspective. Because we are one with everything, it's almost like this perfect harmony, this orchestra that's happening. And I don't care how many times it takes, right? I many times find myself out of step and out of tune. It's like, why am I thinking that? Okay, let's fine tune it. Let's go back to what we should be, thinking and how we should be thinking, because we are all, it's like we're all playing a part in this big orchestration, right? And our awareness is a big part of that. Okay, it's a big part of that. And so this is about remembering not only who we are, but stepping into the presence and listening and being able to hear guidance and just knowing what's welling up from within. Okay. And so the 1111 is bringing presence here, awareness here. And what do we need to know for my group number 2s about presence or this experience with the 1111? What are we needing to know here? Spirit. I feel like someone will be definitely connecting with their higher self during this time. If you've never connected, that's your true inner voice. And your higher self can actually play as a guide. The higher self is not trapped in time. Therefore, the higher self is in a position to guide you, because the higher self is in your future. The higher self is in your past. The higher self is also in your present. And so it's positioned perfectly to guide you. And so I feel like for someone, you will be meeting your higher self during this 1111 portal that's opening. You'll be meeting your higher self for the first time. Maybe you'll be opening to that. And again, there's the sense of having the need to trust, right? Yourself, your higher self, in order to be guided. So there's some acquaintance that's going to happen here. I did pull some tarot to find out what do we need to know about this 1111 portal. We have the 8 of Swords, the Chariot, the Justice, and the 6 of Swords. So first of all, I have 2 cards here that talk about movement, the Chariot and the 6 of Swords. Okay. So this is about movement in some kind of way. It could be literal movement that's going to come from this 1111 portal. It could be an energetic movement. It could be a spiritual move that's happening. But I see some powerful moves that are taking place from this 1111 portal, one of which is like a release of limitations, not outside of yourself, but limitations that you have placed on yourself, right? What you need to know is that during this 1111 portal, if you're open to go on this journey of presence, that's going to bring in the clarity and bring in the distinguishing between who you allow yourself to be guided by. Not every voice that we hear is actually one that we need to follow. It's just, yeah. First of all, does it make sense? And does it align with what you are trying to do in life, right? If the voice comes in your head and say, go jump off that cliff over there, obviously that's not your voice. Just because you're hearing it doesn't mean that it's your voice. I don't know who needs to hear that. But what you need to know during this 1111 portal, you are actually being released from some limits that has been placed on some beliefs that you've had, right? Some beliefs that you've had are being maybe being challenged here, or you're being released from them. However that happens, the Eight of Swords many times could also talk about you holding yourself back because of how you think and believe. There's something about shattering negative, limiting beliefs and no longer holding yourself back. Like I said, this is about movement for you, which is really funny because we're actually in essence talking about presence, which talks about getting still and going within. And then the reaction or the opposite action from that's going to be caused because you get still and go within and you focus on deciphering, what's happening around you. It's going to free you. By getting still, you release yourself, right? By getting still, you allow yourself to expand and to move forward. I feel like that's what you need to know. This is going to be a portal that's going to take you into a sense of freedom. Yeah. And that's going to actually help you to overcome possibly some challenges that you have been dealing with within yourself. Okay. And this is no little thing, because when the Chariot comes out, we're talking about powerful movement. We're talking about determination, willpower, drive, and then being successful with what it is that you're trying to do. He's not struggling trying to fly. No, he's flying very high, very strongly, very swiftly as well. We're not trying to do anything. What you need to know is that you will, in fact, overcome victoriously here is what you need to know during this 1111 portal, what's being started. We also have the Justice that comes out, right? We just talked about the Justice with the 1111 portal. And we're talking about this sense of surety within yourself. Like, don't nobody know like you know what's going on within you, what needs to be healed, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be challenged, what needs to be disciplined. Nobody knows like you know. This is all about you taking responsibility within yourself to equip and position yourself for this success, right? It's one thing to rise to a position of success. Now, the next part of that is maintaining that success. That's where the Justice comes in. What you need to know is that, there's a lot underneath, that it's almost like the pillars that stand underneath the structure. Justice is kind of like the integrous energy, the building on solid foundations, doing things right. Addressing issues when they come up, being fair, right? It's almost like having a solid foundation within yourself. I feel like this could talk about dealing with that kind of energy. Dealing with that kind of energy. Again, this is the 11 that we're dealing with. And this is part of why you will be successful, is because you stand on a firm foundation. You've made sure of that. You've addressed things when they arose as a problem. You didn't run from the challenges within yourself, but you faced them head on and you addressed them. This is an opportunity to build that kind of strength, to build that kind of foundation, right? There's something here about already having that, or this type of energy just backing you with this, right? Where you're going. What's opening up to you as you move forward here through this 1111 portal, because you're definitely moving away from something that wasn't sustainable. The Six of Wands talks about moving from things that are non-desirable and being willing to relocate, being willing to do what it takes to reset how you think, to reset even your physical plane, to reset some of your habits and your expectations, your structure. Swords are all about mental energy. Major reset coming in here, okay? I also want to find out too, like, what is hidden here? What do you need to know? This is all about things being revealed as the veil is thinning through this 1111 portal. Energies are intensified. Things are becoming really clear. Part of that is you getting still and becoming one, entering into presence. Okay. What is hidden or unseen here with my presence group? Okay. So we have house, journey, pathway, bad health, gift, and message of concern. Okay. Now, first of all, if I'm painting the picture like you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to be like, okay, I'm here. I did it. I finally got past all of my hangups. I'm finally able to steer clear of anything that, keeps me in this self-defeating energy. That's not the picture I'm trying to paint. I'm trying to paint a picture of walking through this space called a portal, having decided that this is worth your time, worth your investment, worth your energy, worth your commitment. Journey and pathway lets me know that you're starting on a new road here with this 1111 portal, is inviting you into something new. If you're open to this message and you feel like this is for you, use discernment, ask your guides if this is for you, because this is going to lead you on a path to change. On the other side of this is the dream, right? The clarity, the crisp reality that allows you to move freely and to operate, in a sense of your power. I'm going to say that. And it's a journey that's starting out here with journey and pathway lets me know that there's a working and a commitment here. There is an investment that is needed here. And it will be a process is what I'm seeing here. What you need to know, what may not be, seen from the forefront. I also see you being very protected. I'm looking at this house that's gated. The house is actually pretty tall. It's a big house, but the foundation seems really solid. And with the gate around it, the iron gate, it's protected. It's protected. Whatever it is that you have committed to do or will commit to do is protected. You don't have to worry about nobody coming in and, destroying what you're working for or what you built within yourself. I almost see a very strong, not only foundation, but strong walls, like very strong boundaries, either that you have or that is needed, right? Because when you decide that you want better and you walk away from things, you walk away from people, you have to really trust yourself that you made the right decision. Not to say that there won't be moments where you second doubt yourself and ask, did I make the right decision? Should I go back? Just know, I feel like Spirit is letting you know that you are protected, that you don't have to worry. Now, the only way that you may need to worry is if you do double back, if you decide to open yourself back up to what you have already been shown, to what you have already concluded was not beneficial. Okay. As I see it here, it looks very good, secure, protected. And so if you find yourself have walked away from something or someone, this might be just letting you know you made the right decision. And because of that, you stand on a very firm foundation. Don't let anyone come in and tear that down. I feel like for whoever you are, you've come a long way. You've already put a lot into, what you've built or what you're building for yourself. It looks very solid. Even if you are to, have a mishap, I have bad health here, which does not mean that somebody's going, fall ill. And no, that means that there might be things that happen along the way, short spurts of mishaps when it comes to health that will not keep you down for a long time. They may be lessons to teach you what not to do. If you want to live long, there's some things that you have to cut out. You have to make that decision, right? Again, you may have come to the realization of what is not good for you. Don't second guess yourself and go back. That's a message for me, right? Understand why you made that decision and stick with it. Okay. There's something here about learning, possibly from a bad decision that was made that may affect your health, but I feel like it won't be for a long time. It's long enough to remind you to get back on the right track here. That's what you don't see. I also see gift and message of concern coming through. Let's see, what is this gift coming through for presence? So gift is clarified by thief and mature woman. I almost feel like, even though it says gift, it's almost like presence is reminding me of the word presence, even though it's an antonym, which alludes to the same sound, it means something different. Or is that a synonym? I always forget. But there's something here about guarding what you have. And it's going to really require for you to be sure of who you are. Guarding what you have, which requires for you to be sure of who you are. Yeah. You've been given something very precious, very valuable, highly desired. And it requires a level of maturity, or you will be given something very desired, highly, very highly valuable. And it requires a level of maturity. It requires for you to guard what you have, what you've been given, or what you will be given. So for someone, when you go into this state of presence, there's something that you'll receive. Yeah. There's something that you'll receive. And what you don't know is that there are those that are worried for some reason. For some of you, it could be your spouse. It could be your spouse. But there's someone that's worried. It's worried about you for some reason. But I don't see why. Actually, you're in a really good place. Or you will be. If you allow yourself to follow your higher self, to follow the guidance that's coming through from your higher self, from your soul. And you'll know, because the soul speaks messages of wealth, of abundance. The soul speaks messages of love. The soul speaks messages that will bring you into wholeness, not things that will tear you down. And so whatever you're hearing, this is a time to decipher what is yours and what is not. It's time to actually stand up to the big bad wolf in here for whoever this is for. I do feel like there are those that might be concerned about you for whatever reason. Maybe they know some of the struggles. Maybe you've shared some of them, but someone may be concerned. But I think this is almost like a test to bring you into the knowledge of the fact that, you know, you have the ability to really free yourself from whatever you have felt has plagued you or just caused things to be really difficult. You've had the ability the whole time. That's what the Eight of Swords is all about. It's sitting in a position of waiting for someone to come free you from this. When you've been able to free yourself, you were never stuck. You were just sitting there. You were never stuck. And so I feel like the worry is a bit over the top when you've had the power to really free yourself the whole time. I think maybe being in the right position and having the right understanding may help you here, but that's all about getting into presence, to know thyself. Many times it'll be a confirmation that no, you're not crazy. Sometimes it's a confirmation of, okay, we're not doing that no more. We're not going to listen to that no more. We're going to take control of the wheel here, right? And so there's something that's going to happen here. I feel like Spirit is just letting you know what you've been afraid of, what you've been avoiding. Maybe you don't want to get still because that's when the voices go rampant. Whatever that is, there's an understanding that's coming in as you allow yourself to go within and settle within yourself. Not be afraid, but open up and settle. Just knowing what's you and what's not is all the power that's needed here. So the voices can talk all day long, but they can't make you do nothing. You still have will, right? And so there's just the understanding that's needed here as you go in to sit with yourself. That's the most powerful place that you can be. Going within allows freedom without. And so that's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing here for group number 2s. The Eight of Swords is actually Virgo energy. The Chariot is Cancer. Justice is Libran. And the Six of Swords is Virgo. I'm sorry. So the Eight of Swords is Gemini energy. Cancer. Okay, I'm confusing myself. Yeah, the Eight of Swords is Gemini energy. The Chariot is Cancer. Justice is Libra. And then the Six of Swords is Aquarius. I was getting confused with Virgo, but Virgo is not an air sign. The Six of Swords is Aquarius, that Aquarian energy to change things, to see what is actually possible. So we're going to go for it. We're going to move on our instincts. When our instincts tell us to move, we're going to do it and see what happens. Okay? And so listen to the right voice, okay? And sometimes them voices will tell you to go slap her. Just go slap the taste out of her mouth. And you know that ain't the right voice because you've been with the jail. Like Ophelia on The Color Purple. When she slapped that lady, slapped the taste out of her mouth. And she spent the next, 10 years? It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it, Miss Seeley. It ain't worth it. Anyway, that's the reading for the second group. And then we're going to go ahead and jump into group number 3 as we conclude group number 2, which was presence. It was presence. All right, group number 3 is coming with transformation. Transformation. I'm also hearing transmutation. Turning what is not beneficial into something that is. And this is a master number 33. This is all about compassion. But transformation, in this picture, we see what is a butterfly coming out of the cocoon. It is suspended, but it is freshly coming out of a cocoon. You could be someone that just came out of an awakening. You could be someone that's about to go into some type of awakening or transformation. I feel like this is someone who is about to or being asked to let go of some old way, um, some old form. Before the metamorphosis, we know that the butterfly was a worm. In order to turn into a butterfly, it has to release the old form, right? This is about letting go of whatever it was that you used to be. You're no longer that. I feel like this is someone who has just come out of a transformation, however that resonates, right? This is someone who may not even look like what you used to be. You used to look like a worm, and now you're a butterfly. Like, folks may not even notice you when you cross paths with them on the street. Or if they see a picture of you, they're like, that's who? Wait a minute, who? Let me see that. I know you lying. Show is. Well, will you look at this? Well, will you look at here? Someone has just come from a transformation. And I feel like it wasn't easy. Like, sometimes we look at people on the other side of the transformation and we're like, oh, she's so cute. Cute. Ain't nothing cute here. Not from what I just came through, right? Oh, that's so cute. What's cute about that? Right? What's cute about having to go through a painful process? If we understood the process, I don't think we would see the butterfly as a beautiful creature. If we understood that during this transformation, it actually had to be broken down into pure liquid, and then it had to be built back up. Do you know how painful that is? I know a worm can't scream, neither can a butterfly, but can you imagine having to be broke down, liquefied, and then having to be built back up, but still maintaining consciousness? I don't care what nobody say. I think everything in creation has a consciousness. I know that now. The 1111 portal is confirmation of that. It is causing me to regurgitate some of the things, some of the experiences that I've had, like my experiences with trees. I used to literally talk with trees. I still do, but it's not as, how you first find out you're able to do something and you're like, right, until it becomes just a common thing. But to understand that everything that is created has a consciousness. Because we like to categorize things. We like to categorize the order of creation. Oh, that's less valuable, so we sit that over there. But everything has a purpose, right? And I don't care what you say. I think if it breathes, if it moves, if it lives, that it has some kind of consciousness to it. And to think that the butterfly doesn't experience pain, that's crazy. That's crazy. Why wouldn't it experience pain? And to understand the amount of pain that it had to go through to make the transformation gives a deeper level of appreciation than just, oh, that's so cute. Cute. Ain't nobody trying to be cute. The pain that I had to go through to afford, right, to be able to fly and flutter and to be light, right? This was earned, right? It deserves more. It deserves more than just oh, that is so cute, right? But I say that because I feel like for whoever you are, you have endured some very deep, difficult things to get where you are. And this 1111 portal is bringing up some of those memories for some of you. You may not even understand why you're thinking back on certain things that was very painful for you, but it's bringing you the understanding of the cost of transformation. It's bringing you that understanding because as you look back to where you were a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years ago, you will understand what it took to get you where you are here today. And this picture of the butterfly, I feel like is very symbolic of that. It's very symbolic of that. You may be having memories of times where you felt unempowered, maybe even confined to some things that you didn't feel like you had a lot of choices or decisions. Maybe you didn't feel like you were able to do some of the things that you're able to do now or make some of the choices that you were able to make. Maybe you felt confined like that worm in the cocoon as it was transforming. It didn't have the ability to move. It didn't really have a lot of decision. It had the decision to enter into the cocoon, but once it was in it, all of its power was taken away. There was only one destiny, and that was towards the butterfly. That was to be transformed. That was to be taken and dragged through this process of pain to be made into the butterfly. And so maybe you have been thinking, as you're thinking here, this 1111 portal is revealing some things about that process, about the transformation, about how you got to where you are right now, and the price that you had to pay for that. For some of you, you're about to go through this. You're about to go through a major transformation. This portal is opening up the invitation for you to step on in. And it's letting you know there will be times where you may feel like you're in the middle of the transformation right now. And you feel like you're pressed on every side and you don't have wiggle room to do anything that you feel like you should be doing right now. You feel tired, exhausted, confined, maybe even in the dark with what's going on, but yet and still, there's something that keeps you getting up every day, because on the other side of this is your transformation. You know that through this process right now, even though you may feel confused and a little bit hurt and a little bit confined, that evolution is the trade-off for what you're going through right now. And so for transformation, I feel like you could be someone who, I can't help but look at the colors here, very beautiful colors. And when we think of a butterfly, we think of art, we think of creation, this very, we think of something that is very expressive, right? A butterfly expressive. Just by flying, a butterfly expresses itself and is very artistic. Just in it doesn't have to even do anything, but just be. And it gives off all of these gifts to us. But it came at a cost, the way that it glides through the air and it spreads its wings so beautifully. The funny thing about that is, even, when we look at the caterpillar, the previous form, we don't hardly even see caterpillars. Like, they're hidden, and so to understand like the metamorphosis, that the caterpillar is no longer this sludge, this jelly ball, and it turns into the butterfly, is pretty interesting, and it's pretty miraculous as well. And even though we don't see them a lot, without the caterpillar, there would be no butterfly. And so there's something about, understanding the value and, the necessity of being where you are right now, or where you are before the transformation, or where you were before you went through the transformation. If you're sitting on the other side already, if you're in the middle of it, understanding the importance of where you are. Each stage is important, because without the caterpillar, there wouldn't have been the butterfly. So there had to be a before in order to get to the after, right? And so there's something very beautiful about that, and understanding how important and how miraculous this will be, or this is, or how miraculous it was. Whatever stage of this you might be in, for each of you, if you're feeling called to this one, when we talk about transformation, you could be experiencing the transformation in a different way, right? You may have already gone through and looking back at what that was and how important it was. You may feel like you're actually transforming as we speak, and in the middle of this process, this painful process. Maybe it's something that you realize you're ready for, and it's time. This 1111 is an invitation to take a look at that. And when we look at this butterfly, how beautiful it is, and how important, our being, our state of being is, and how not to minimize everything by just, looking at the beauty of something. I started to say something, but I'm not going to get on that subject, of having everything be just microwave today. Not wanting to put in the work to get the results that we want. We have everything where we can just go pay and we can just get it done. I spent about, almost 10 years without a microwave. no, I wouldn't say 10 years. I'd say about, yeah, almost the latter half of 5 years, not quite 10, between 5 and 10 years without a microwave on purpose. And I really do feel like it has added a quality to my life. The fact that I was not um, using this contraption every single day. I'm not sure exactly what it does, but I know it must have some effect on the physical human body. And it was a conscious decision not to buy one for those few years. And I can say that I don't know if it has something to do with not aging quick or not having a lot of bodily issues. I don't know. All I can say is I don't really have a lot of issues. And I think it's as a result of not really taking the easy way out. Now, before I toot my own horn, let me say we do have a microwave now. And I do, like I was saying in the last reading, Spirit was bringing out when we make decisions to better ourselves or to walk away from something that we know is not serving us, be careful that you don't turn around and open up the door. I feel like there are some things that we might be learning here about the decisions that we made. It may be a short-term experience that's teaching us not to turn back, right? Saying that is like sometimes we don't want to pay for the results that we want or some type of outcome or some type of privileged experience. We don't want to actually pay the cost that it costs in the body. You know, if you want a tight, firm body, you have to go to the gym. You have to be able to push your plate away from the table. That's the cost to having the firm body. There are shortcuts, but there's a cost for that too. Sometimes it is a shortened lifespan sometimes. And so I think this is really understanding and not minimizing things and we're talking about the butterfly and the process of transformation, not minimizing things to just, beauty and over exaggerating beauty, right? Because there's a cost behind that. The Spirit is bringing the understanding of the necessity of process and not having everything happen overnight or microwaved or instantly. Some things need to develop. Some things need to process. Some things need to transform, right? And so this 1111 for somebody, and it could be for all of us, this could be a collective experience that we're having. It could be a personal one. We are being called, this portal 1111, this powerful energy experience that's open and conducive. It's conducive to transformation, to change right now. And that may look different for each of us. Nevertheless, it is still transformation. And as I look at this picture, the colors in the picture they're greens, they're blues and purples is what I'm seeing. And so we're actually talking about the upper chakras. We're talking about the upper chakras from the heart up. So the heart chakra, the voice chakra, the pineal gland, the third eye chakra, and then the crown chakra. We're talking about transformation for these upper chakras. Okay. And what that means, though, that also means that there has been some development and some work that has been done on the lower chakras because it's a progression, right? Once we get to the heart chakra, that means that there is an alignment that's happening for the energy to flow correctly and balanced through the heart chakra. And I was just noticing these colors here for the transformation. So this transformation is something that's really, I feel like cultivating the energy around how we are seeing things, how we're interpreting things, our higher sense of intelligence and knowledge of ourselves, how we perceive ourselves in the world, in connection, though, not just perceiving and projecting, but how we connect with things outside of ourselves and how we process change as well. The 1111, I feel like, has to do with our future, absolutely, and being able to release what was, right? Being able to release what was in exchange for what will be, what is coming. There's a price. right? If we want something greater, we have to be able to release what is. You can't accept anything new if your hands are clutched and closed and tight, and you're not willing to open and release what's in your hand so that you can receive something else. All you're going to get is what you got, because you can't receive anything else. You're not open. And so there's something here with this transformation, I feel like is ushering someone into their future, whoever is resonating with this reading. And so that's the energy that I'm getting, the strong energy of transformation and the importance of it, the importance of allowing process to take place, allowing ourselves to release and let go, and providing space to release control for what needs to happen for this transformation. Not to say that we are the ones that's causing or processing or guiding this transformation. This is something that's above us, right? What would happen if the caterpillar never decided to enter into the stage of transformation? It never gets to become the butterfly. It just doesn't happen, right? So there's something about surrender here, surrendering control. Yeah. So that there's a divine wisdom, there's a divine power that can flow within and do what needs to be done. Yeah. Sometimes we get in our own way of things that should just be flowing and happening. Sometimes we get in our own way. And because of that, we stop the flow of what should be taking place. Sometimes it's miracles. And it is a miracle, right? We say that evolution is not real. That's what I studied in school, but I found that to be a lie, because how then could a butterfly turn into, how then could a caterpillar turn into a butterfly? It's the realization that everything is really one. It just evolves from form to form, from consciousness to consciousness, right? Critical thinking. And so sometimes our reluctance to release power, to release, and submit and surrender, it blocks miracles that we see every day. But there's miracles that happen within us too, for us. It blocks, luck for us. It blocks divine intervention many times as well. And so there's something about transformation. I think this is my favorite one. There's something about transformation that we're going to delve into here and see what we need to know about this 1111 portal for the transformation group. Let's find out here. All right, we're going to put some tarot, see what we need to know about the 1111 portal in alignment with transformation. In alignment with transformation. So we have the Five of Swords, the Knight of Swords, the Three of Wands, and the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups. And so starting with the Five of Swords, it's kind of like the energy of having something be a little bit conflictual. A little bit conflictual with the Five of Swords. This is standing your ground in the face of conflict. And the Five of Swords is very conflictual, not as conflictual as the Ten of Swords, but it's like building up to that point, letting it be known that there's a problem, right? And sometimes the Five of Swords is all about a flex of power, a flex of ego, before it becomes fully, before it actually produces the full growth of its potential and turns into Ten of Swords. The Five of Swords is really kind of like an announcement of, the ability to take what it is that you want. It's an announcement of a potential power that's held that can be exercised if desired, right? But the five recommends, or it points to the energy of change. Fives are all about change. And so as we look at the Five of Swords, this may actually give the look of something that looks positive but needs change, right? The Five of Swords says, well, I can, do whatever I want, whenever I want. Nothing can hold me back. Nothing can bring me down. In a way that becomes a false sense of security, we can say that. But in the end, having that type of attitude can sometimes end in a way that's not necessarily desired, right? It may end and have the person question, was that really what I wanted? I don't know if that's what I wanted. I went and I took it, but now that I have it, I'm asking, was it worth it? Because it didn't really produce the outcome that I desired, right? So there's some awakening here about how we fight and stand, and how we value what we have in our current situations. Now, what this has to do with transformation, I'm going to ask for clarity, because this is an interesting card to come out. Why is the Five of Swords here? I'm trying to connect. Why is the Five of Swords here with transformation? Maybe this is how we are learning through this transformation. Maybe this is how we will learn to handle situations. Three of Pentacles comes out. Transforming how we handle, and the Three of Swords comes out. So we have two threes. So it has to do with our interaction. That's transforming here. Maybe even how we interact with each other. Three of Pentacles is collaborating. Three of Swords is disappointment with connections. So how we handle disappointment with our connections when interacting with others, that may be something very significant that's being transformed here. Maybe we are mastering or honing in on some skill or ability that's going to help us to better relate or better interact. That's what I'm getting with the threes. One is really self-absorbed, then it makes room for two. It's like, okay, now I can see things outside of myself. And then we introduce creation with the three, right? So not only are we having to deal with each other, now we have another that steps in, which causes more selflessness to be required here. More selflessness. And so this is allowing room for change, allowing room even for conflict, dealing with conflict in a way that will allow us to stand up for truth, stand up for what we believe in, fight the good fight, but at the same time still end up in the desired outcome. Still ending up in a desired outcome. And so it's like fighting fair, right? There's something transforming around the Five of Swords, which is conflictual energy. Maybe you're someone who just has a lot of conflict or has dealt with a lot of conflictual energy. Maybe you're someone who's learning how to deal with conflict without throwing the baby out with the bathwater, right? There's something coming out about that here with the Five of Swords. Through this transformation, there might be some breakthroughs around that area, or something that can assist and help. I also have the Knight of Swords, all about clarity here, moving with clarity. The Knights want to move and do, and Swords is wanting to have clarity around what we're doing, how we're doing it, what needs to be done. Not just rushing in half-cocked, or with half knowledge. You know, the Knight of Swords is fully informed. Um, very enthusiastic as well. And so there's something about just being unstoppable, but also being clear. As you're charging forward, there is a sense of enthusiasm, being inspired. Unstoppable, I'm getting that as well. Just having a high potential, what you don't see, or what you need to know is that you carry this kind of energy. Like there's something very powerful about what it is that you carry, what you have to offer. You could be a younger person. You don't have to be, you could just have that kind of energy, just a very high potential. And a potential that actually brings in a high level of the ability to be successful, whatever you set your mind to do. Very powerful energy. As long as you do things correctly and don't cut corners or don't rush through, there's nothing that you won't be able to do. That's what you need to know. There's something about you, if you don't allow yourself to get in the way, that is unstoppable. If you allow yourself to be teachable, to learn from your mistakes, in this case, to allow yourself to be transformed, right? There's something about moving to the next level, right? Had the caterpillar not submitted to the process, he wouldn't be able to fly across the country, right? He would still be inching across a piece of wood. There's something about moving to the next level, but you have to, what you don't know is you will need to succumb to the transformation. There might be some things that you may need to release through this process too. What you don't see is the Three of Wands. And the Three of Wands is that you have done a lot of hard work, right? You have built a stern enough foundation to get you up to where you are right now. The Three of Wands is letting you know that you are ready to go to the next level. Where you are right now, I feel like you've mastered certain aspects of your experience, and you are now looking forward, trying to see what will be your next venture, right? What you'll conquer next for whoever you are. You're ready for the next part of this, I feel like, with the Three of Wands. Another three. Lots of threes coming out here in your reading. Yeah, this gives that same energy from the Knight of Swords. It's very eager. Very eager energy. The Three of Wands is all about expansion and moving to the next level, new ventures and experiences. You're ready. Yeah, you're ready for this transformation. Especially with the Eight of Cups coming out next. I was just about to say that. It's almost like you have exhausted all the potential out of your current experience. You have nowhere to go but up. Unless, of course, you want to stay comfortable and get bored. I feel like you're somebody with this energy that's coming out. You're definitely somebody that has a high level of energy, a high level of enthusiasm. You're someone that loves to learn and learn new things and adventure and grow and expand. Like it's in your nature, I feel like. And Spirit is saying you're ready. Look for some new beginning to happen, some new opportunity to open up for you. Yeah. You're ready for your next challenge. You've outgrown your current position where you are right now. I feel like the one challenge is how you deal with conflict, though. That's what's coming out. And that may be what part of what this transformation is offering is, different skills that may need to be honed in on to make your experience that much more enjoyable. But you are moving up. You're about to expand. to your next level. You're about to have a major level up here. And what is it that's hidden or unseen for transformation? What is unseen? So we have expectation, family room, message, and change. Yeah. Major change coming for you. Expectation. And you already feel this. I feel like for whoever you are, you may have already had some type of message about this. You're ready. Family room. You've already discussed this. You've been talking about this already. This is not anything new. This is just confirmation. Yep, message. It's just confirmation and change. Matter of fact, you have already, from someone here, you've already changed in your mind. There's something about waiting for it to manifest in reality. You know how you've already made a change in your mind. You're just kind of trying to get your reality to catch up with the decision you've made. Yeah, you already know this. This message comes as a confirmation. What else is hidden or unseen for my transformation group? Transformation. Okay, for someone, this is a major change that's about to come in about your personal life. Your personal life is about to take off. I have main male, marriage, main female, and child. That spells family to me. You're about to enter into a new situation when it comes to your family. Yeah, when it comes to your family, you may be moving into a situation that will create a family. I see two single people coming together. I also see a child here. And so it's almost like this transformation is going to result in you stepping into, I believe, the most happiest, maybe one of the most happiest seasons of your life. That's going to be very fulfilling and open up many doors of possibilities depending on what it is that you desire. Okay. For somebody, you're about to start your family. You are about to start a beautiful legacy. This is confirmation. But again, I think you already know that. This is just confirmation. There's some transformation that has already changed and placed you right in position. Some of you are about to go into this transformation. Some of you are smack dab in the middle of it. So whatever part of that you're in, no matter what it feels like, know that you are about to be transformed into you're about to evolve into the latest creation that you are. For someone, it's about you moving into family mode. And that may have something to do with you learning how to fight fair, you learning how to disagree nobly, ethically, integrously. There's something about that. Disagreeing in a way that does not leave you somewhere alone, abandoned, isolated. Yeah, spirit feels like you are ready and you're positioned, right, for your evolution. And it feels very fulfilling on the other side of this. It feels very beautiful, lots of happiness, lots of connection, lots of emotional fulfillment as well with transformation. Again, which is a 33, it's all about compassion. So you are about to transform and grow into some of the happiest moments of your life. Yeah, for whoever you are. So I hope you're ready. The 1111 portal can bring love as well. Okay. that's what I have for you. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I hope you enjoyed this reading. And I hope you are enjoying this evening and this energy of the 1111 portal. You should look it up and kind of tap into that energy and see what it means for you personally, what you get out of it. There's no message like a internal message that you get for yourself, right? And so thank you for stopping by. It's always a pleasure to read. I get a lot of joy doing this. And so I hope you enjoy it. It is all for those who like these energetic readings. And again, let me know how it resonates. If it resonates, I always like to hear like how it aligns with you. If it does, good or bad, indifferent, it doesn't matter. Let me know that it resonates. Okay. All right, you guys. Here's to the 1111 portal. Cock and let her rip. All right. Bye, y'all. See you guys next time. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe if you feel led to do so. All that love is appreciated. All right, my love bugs. Bye.